Why some Christians choose not to celebrate Valentine's Day. A brief history and theological reflection. Valentine's Day, celebrated every February 14th, is widely known as a day of romance, flowers, chocolates, and public expressions of affection. While many Christians participate in it without concern, others choose not to celebrate it for historical, theological, and practical reasons. This article explores a short history of Valentine's Day and presents reasons why some Christians abstain from its celebration. A short history of Valentine's Day. The origins of Valentine's Day are complex and layered, blending Roman tradition with later Christian influence. One of the earliest associations is the Roman festival of Lupercalia, held in mid-February. Lupercalia was a pagan fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, a Roman god, and involved rituals that modern Christians would consider immoral and incompatible with biblical faith. Later, during the 3rd century, a Christian martyr named Saint Valentine became associated with February 14th. There are multiple legends about Saint Valentine. One popular tradition claims he secretly performed marriages for Christian couples under the reign of Claudius II, who had allegedly banned marriages for young men. Valentine was eventually executed for his faith. In 496 AD, Pope Gelasius I declared February 14th as Saint Valentine's Day, possibly as an effort to replace Lupercalia with a Christian observance. Over centuries, especially during the Middle Ages in Europe, the day became associated with romantic love. By the time of Geoffrey Chaucer, Valentine's Day was linked to courtly romance in literature. In modern times, especially in countries like the United States, Valentine's Day has become heavily commercialized, driven by card companies, florists, and media industries. Why some Christians choose not to celebrate Valentine's Day. Not all Christians oppose Valentine's Day. However, many believers, especially those concerned with biblical purity and separation from pagan practices, choose not to observe it for the following reasons. Pagan roots and syncretism. Christians are troubled by the historical connection to Lupercalia. Even though the modern celebration looks different, they believe that Christians should avoid practices that originated in pagan rituals. Deuteronomy 12:30-31. For them, redeeming a formerly pagan festival may blur the line between biblical worship and cultural syncretism. Romantic love. Overemphasis. Valentine's Day tends to reduce love to romantic or erotic expression. Biblically, love Greek, agape, is primarily self-sacrificial and covenantal. John 13:34-35. Some Christians worrying that the holiday promotes emotionalism, sensuality, or even immorality, especially among unmarried couples. Commercialization and materialism. Modern celebration emphasizes spending money on gifts, flowers, and experiences. This can foster materialism and pressure, especially among young people. Scripture warns believers against conforming to worldly values. Romans 12:2, and against love of money. 1 Timothy 6:10. Pressure and emotional harm. For singles, widows, or those struggling in marriage, Valentine's Day can intensify feelings of loneliness or inadequacy. Some Christians view the holiday as culturally manipulative rather than spiritually edifying. Every day should reflect biblical love. From a biblical perspective, love is not seasonal. Husbands are commanded to love their wives as Christ loved the church, Ephesians 5:25, and believers are commanded to love one another continually. Some argue that setting aside one commercial day for love undermines the biblical call to daily, sacrificial love. A balanced perspective. It is important to note that Scripture does not directly forbid celebrating Valentine's Day. Romans 14 teaches that believers may differ on matters of conscience. For some, Valentine's Day is simply an opportunity to express gratitude and affection in a wholesome, Christ-honoring way. For others, abstaining is a matter of conviction. The issue, therefore, is not merely the date but the heart. Does celebrating it glorify God? Does it uphold purity, biblical love, and gratitude? Or does it promote worldliness, sensuality, and consumerism? Conclusion. Valentine's Day has roots that trace back to ancient Roman customs and later Christian adaptation. While many modern practices are far removed from pagan rituals, concerns remain among some Christians about its origins, commercialization, and romantic emphasis. Ultimately, whether one chooses to celebrate or abstain, the guiding principle must be this: whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Christian love is not confined to February 14th. It is daily, sacrificial, holy, and rooted in the love of Christ Himself.